Hello, people. I finished a book. I finished this one a couple of days ago. I'm on another one. This other one kind of sucks, but Hernando de Soto, subtitled A Savage Quest in the Americas. Kind of a hole in my reading would be, what happened in South and Central and the Southern United States with the Spanish and the Portuguese, I guess, to a lesser extent, and then the French, and then the British. It was a bit of a depressing book. For one, because I've been in Florida. I've spent quite a bit of time in Florida, and there's fucking statues of this guy, this De Soto guy, all over the fucking place, and plaques, and it actually turns out that nobody really knows where he landed. There is some archaeologists that are on the trail of De Soto, and they look for, they can tell when, what period something was from, a bit of metal here and a bit of metal there, and bridles from horses, lance tips, shit like that. This was kind of a long book, 425 pages. Not super long, but it did take me a little while to finish this. The book was printed in 1996, 425 pages. The author's name is David Ewing Duncan, and the guy, I'll say this for him, he wanted to give a fuck about the information he was giving you, whether we knew this for sure or whether we're guessing. And there was a few guys that marched around with De Soto that did right, so we have that available to us too. But they were very poor writers. For instance, when De Soto, he's trying to get out, trying to get back to Florida, or trying to get back to the Mississippi River, he dies. He catches some kind of a fever and dies. One of the guys doesn't even say anything about the fever, and then he just offhand mentions that, oh yeah, De Soto died today. So they were kind of shitty. They weren't very good logs that these people were keeping. But as De Soto travels around, this author looks at all three of the logs and says, he may have been here, he may have been there, this guy says this guy says that. I like that. I like somebody trying to be accurate. I'm going to get into my notes here. Move my praying mantis cocoon out of the way. Not a cocoon, it's an egg sac. Second paragraph, page 67. I had two of those egg sacs, and one of them I happened to be in an area where the praying mantises were laying their eggs on garbage, and one of them was on a piece of cardboard, and I nailed it to a tree out there. I thought that would be perfect. Something ripped it off there and ate it, a fucking squirrel or something. Second paragraph. Few in Panama, however, felt admiration for Cortez. The overriding emotion on the Plaza Mayor that day was one of intense jealousy that they had not found Montezuma first. The only consolation for the choleric old governor and his colonists was their potent belief that if one great empire existed in the Indies, others must be waiting to be discovered and conquered. All these fucking people were there at the same time. Cortez, Pizarro, De Soto, Ponce de Leon, they were all there at the same time. And that's all they did was look for people to enslave and gold and silver to enrich themselves. And when I say enslave, not only did they use them for their own slaves to carry all their shit, all their food and tents and everything, but they would load them onto boats and sell them as slaves. And, you know, in large part, just because the uh, the Indians weren't Christian and the Spanish were, so they figured that fuck it, it's fair game. Even if they converted to Christianity, they were still not safe. Fourth paragraph, page 100. I've read some of this stuff before in my life, but this is the first large book that goes through what they did. Cortez and De Soto, they did the same shit over and over. Fourth paragraph, page 100. For the natives of Nicaragua and the surrounding areas, the decade of Hernando de Soto's ascendancy was the time of their apocalypse. In an astonishingly short period, the proud Indian city-states of the... I'm not going to try and pronounce these, I just can't do it. In Nicaragua were obliterated, their cultures destroyed, and their peoples implacably pushed toward extinction that would be all but complete by the end of the century. Over and over, it's the same thing. And my little note here says, forced labor, outright killing, torture, sold into slavery, ripped apart by war dogs. And the torture, included being thrown to the dogs. And these Central Americans had a word that was very close to barbecue. And they all, in their little villages, they had a big barbecue. They didn't exactly call it barbecue, but that was one of the torture devices that the Spanish started to use. They would roast these people, and in front of everyone else, and say, see, look what we did to that guy. We're going to do that to you if you don't give us all your gold. This was all happening 500 years ago. It may sound like a long time ago, but it's not. Okay, so De Soto goes with Pizarro, for the Inca. The Inca never do put up a very good defense. They have large armies, but they don't put up a very good defense. The author does say that one guy, this is a guy that they put in charge, that the Spanish picked. They thought that, they would be able to mold him like a piece of clay. But later on, this guy leads a rebellion that lasts for another 20 years. That was not in the book. It was not part of the scope of this book. I would have enjoyed to read that. The Spanish captured the Inca king by lying to him, saying, hey, we're friendly. Let's eat together. They do this over and over and over. And then they put him in chains and they ransom him for an incredible amount of gold. They get most of the gold. It's just like rooms full of gold. They decide to kill him anyway when the ransom is paid. I'll jump to page 170 here for something. Over and over they do this. Large kingdoms, big kingdoms, small villages. Where's your leader? We want to be friends with him. And then they capture him. And I'm supposed to pick out a fucking sentence here. I don't know about this. I can't find it. It was not good. 235, Cuba. They also went around Cuba killing people. Second paragraph. In 1538, the island Soto and his men would march across consisted mostly of overgrown and unoccupied bush and savanna, vast grasslands punctuated by dense clumps of palms and flanked by forests, with districts of heavily wooded mountains in the south, and other scattered ranges in the middle and to the west. There were few mammal species here, the largest being the fleshy manatee. There also was an abundance of mice, shrews, squirrel-like jutias, long-snouted, and a variety of bats that came swooping through the Spaniards' camps at night. Catching insects attracted by the horses and sweating men and the light of the campfires. Reptiles were plentiful, with the usual tropical array of alligators, snakes, lizards, iguanas, and turtles. The army was also greeted everywhere by a cacophony of birds, particularly as millions upon millions of migrating geese, ducks, and songbirds from North America passed through the marshes and grasslands on their way to winter in South America. More permanent island species ranged from large populations of flamingos, wood ducks, snowy egrets, dazzling macaws, and the now extinct royal woodpecker. An enormous carpintero the size of a heron, with a bright yellow fantail crest that looked so lovely in a woman's bonnet that hunters in the coming centuries killed every last one of them. So it wasn't just humans that the Spanish the Spanish were kind of crazy for hundreds of years. It wasn't just humans, and I'm sure it wasn't just the Spanish that killed those this big beautiful royal woodpecker. I write here, amazing that the Spanish can sell land. After they killed people and took over their land, they would just say, hey, this is mine, mark it off, and if some other Spanish took an interest in that land, they would sell it. Soto goes from Cuba to Florida. Nobody really knows exactly where he landed. Most historians are leaning towards Tampa Bay. And he meets, they meet up with the Appalachian, and the Appalachian actually put up a fight. The battles are still one-sided, but he's starting to run into Indians that will put up a fight. I don't have a lot more notes after this. I got a couple more because he runs into this tribe. Their king, his name is Tuscaloosa, not Tuscaloosa, Tuscaloosa. He's a giant. De Soto does the same thing that they always do. Hey, we're friendly. We love you. Come here so we can put fucking chains on you. But this guy Tuscaloosa is so huge that they want him to ride on a horse, and the regular saddle horses won't hold him. They have to get like a baggage horse. And Tuscaloosa, by now the Spanish are a little bit overconfident, and then they go into this village, Mabila, and Tuscaloosa is there with him. Tuscaloosa is able to sneak away, and he's able to order his warriors to attack the Spanish. And it's, as far as their battles go, it's kind of like a defeat for the Spanish because they lose like 30 people. People are dying later on. The Indians kill a bunch of horses. But the thing is, at this battle, the Spanish have these slaves that are carrying all their shit. The slaves run to this city because they want to join the Indians and fight the Spanish. And they do. They get inside. There's a regular stockade around this village. And so the Spanish lose all their shit, all their clothing, all their tents, everything. And then the Spanish think it's a good idea to light this town on fire. They burn it down. They kill all the Indians. Probably Tuscaloosa dies in the fire as well. But the Spanish also lose all their shit. All their shit. And De Soto is he's so greedy, and he wants to, they keep hearing stories about these cities made of gold, and he just keeps marching on, and they keep losing more and more people, more and more horses. They have a few more battles where some of the conquistadors are being killed. Then they try to march back. He dies. De Soto dies somewhere alongside the Mississippi River. For some fucking dumbass reason, people will say that De Soto discovered the Mississippi River. Well, not only were there thousands and thousands of people already living up and down the Mississippi River, but other Europeans had mapped the mouth of the river. You know, I don't understand where that comes from. Anyways, De Soto was a fucking racist, greedy son of a bitch, and so was everyone else with him. There actually were a few people that said, hey, maybe we shouldn't be so mean to these Indians, but not many. And all the other conquistadors were the same. I bet you if you added it all up with all these guys roaming around South America, Central America, and the southern North America, they killed millions of Indians, not just by the sword, but with diseases and everything. It's just fucking horrendous. You know, a long time ago, one of the guys where I used to work, that last good job that I had, he said, "Fucking, why are you fucking reading so much?" And I said, I want to know why the world is so fucked up. I want to know what led to this fucked up situation we're in right now. And then this is it. It's the fucking attitude of fucking people, and it's racism, it's fucking religion, and it's all of it. How the fuck is it gonna end? I don't know. Thanks for watching. I had my vaccine yesterday. It's making me feel like shit. Thanks for watching.